T-34 Mentors, the T-34A is taking off. One carries the colors of the Texas Air Guard. The other carries the colors of the Air Force Aggressor Squadron that flew in the red flag operations for the Air Force. They would take an F-5 Freedom Fighter and paint them in the colors that you see of the T-34. The aircraft was designed initially by North American at the end of World War II. Designed and manufactured, later taken over by Ryan Aircraft Company. Korean War. And he's followed by Joe Morton. Now, as Howdy mentioned earlier, that loud rapping noise that you hear is actually not the sound of the engine. It's the sound coming from the very tips of the propeller as it literally breaks the sound barrier out at the tips. And that creates that loud rapping noise that you hear. Up to the basic training. And after so many weeks of basic training in the BTs, then they would move into the AT-6 Texans. Inbound on the right side are the two T-34s. Tandem-seated aircraft. The student pilot normally flew from the front seat. As you can see, these pilots fly them solo also from the front seat. They're fully aerobatic airplanes. T-34B. Pete Fraser with the Navion. This aircraft was painted in the same color scheme that Pete had on his F-86 Saberjet in Korea. As he turns the smoke on in the aircraft, once again that smoke is generated by injecting a very thin Corvus oil into the hot exhaust systems of the aircraft. A World War II BT-13, known as the Vultee Valiant, commonly called the Vultee Vibrator. Vultee also built a fighter aircraft, very similar to this airplane. The U.S. Navy currently uses the T-34s, and the ones that they use now in training carry the designation of T-34C. And for an engine power plant, they have the turbine PT-6 in the nose of the aircraft. Pete Fraser from Lee, Massachusetts, flying the Navion, is a real connoisseur of Navions, as he has 5 of these airplanes, with 4 of them currently under restoration in various stages in his shop, or civilian political people that happen to be in Korea on inspection tours. As Joe comes by with the BT-13, there aren't that many of these aircraft still flying today in this country. At the end of World War II, when the crop dusters started using the PT-17 Stearman, they were looking for bigger engines to put in the Stearman, so they would go to a boneyard and they'd buy a Vultee Valiant and steal the engine and cowling and put it on the front of the biplane. Tight formation with the T-34s. See a little bit of the camouflage shape. Fred's aircraft, the camouflage colored airplane. This aircraft, it's an all-metal airplane, and it was developed at the conclusion of World War II, as North Americans felt that all the returning pilots from World War II would want an aircraft that resembled their North American P-51.
You said he's got 5 of these Navions floating around? The man is a puppy. He doesn't like it, does he?
Various stages of restoration.
He's going to do it until he gets it right, I understand.
You know, for those of you that are wondering where my co-announcer is, he's sitting in the shade.
My mama didn't raise a bull.
Yeah. These aircraft that we have here today are powered by the 225 horsepower Continental engines. Some of the airplanes have been modified up to 300 horse in these airplanes. I know Julie Clark has been flying on the air show circuit for many years with the T-34, and hers is the 300 horsepower.
The IO-550 Continental engine.
Got it. Have you ever seen the engine in her airplane?
It is beautiful.
It has gold
Almost as pretty as Julie.
covers on it. I mean, it is just pristine. He's followed by Fred Vanderbilt in his gorgeous T-34. And Pete Fraser has set himself up for landing out here on the right side.
That's the way to put it. What was the last airplane Navy on? Was the Rangemaster we came out with the
Yes,
doors
it was.
of the sliding canopy? I took one here in the
Navy
field.
came out with a model of the Navion. It was a twin engine.
Twin Navion, yes.
Strange
Burn twice as much
looking
fuel
bird.
and go no faster.
It was a strange looking aircraft. Very shortly to turn final. How about a big wave for our T-34 drivers? You know, these guys make it look so easy out there flying formation. But I'll tell you what, it takes a lot of concentration and an awful lot of trust in your wingman when he's about 6 or 8 feet off your wingtip. How about a big wave out here for the doctor of North American and Ryan Navions, Pete Fraser. Fresh air in there. It gets pretty warm inside these airplanes on a day like this. And while we're talking about that, remember to drink a lot of liquids here this afternoon. You can dehydrate very rapidly without even realizing it. Well, a nice airplane. This type of color scheme was very common on World War II aircraft in the late 40s and early 50s, before the Warbird movement really took off. Most of the Warbirds flying around the country at that particular time in